Morning, you guys. Today we're going to talk about a couple different topics. We're going to start off with absolute value, and then we're going to talk about what happens when you divide by zero, and then we're going to go and discuss rational numbers. So there's three small topics that we're going to talk about today. However, those small topics are something that we're going to use as we walk through this school year. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is absolute value. Absolute value is known as the distance from zero. Absolute value is always positive. So when I discuss absolute value and I say that it is always positive, absolute value signs look like two parallel lines. So this is what an absolute value symbol is. So if I tell you the absolute value of 5, and I want to know what is the absolute value, I want to know the distance from 0. So I'm going to turn this positive. So absolute value of 5 is 5. If I say the absolute value of negative 5, got to find the distance from 0. The distance of 0 is positive, so I'm going to take away my negative, and it is 5. If I say the absolute value of 10 plus negative 3, I have to solve my problem before I can find my absolute value. So 10 plus negative 3, I have a positive and a negative. I do not change it until I only have one number. So I'm going to subtract 10 minus 3 is 7. Bringing down, it's a positive, bringing down my absolute value, the absolute value of 7 is 7. If I give you the absolute value of negative 21 plus 5, once again, I have a negative and a positive, so I'm going to subtract. I'm going to get 16. Negative 21 is bigger than 5, so it's a negative. Bring down my absolute value. Now I'm going to change it positive because I only have one number. The absolute value of negative 16 is 16. So absolute value, you're looking at your symbol, which is two parallel lines. You are solving if you need to on the inside, and then taking that one number and either keeping it positive or changing it positive. The next little thing that we're going to talk about is a very important rule to remember. When you divide by 0, divide by 0. What I mean by this is if I give you something like 5 divided by 0, top number inside, bottom number outside. 0 cannot go into 5, so it is impossible. It cannot happen. You cannot have a number divided by 0. It is impossible. Now if I do 0 divided by 5, top number inside, bottom number outside, 5 goes into 0 0 times. So if 0 is on top, it equals 0. If 0 is on bottom, it's impossible. You cannot have a 0 on bottom. You cannot end with 0. 0 cannot be on bottom. Just kind of a little hint that you're going to need to remember. Last thing I want to talk about is a rational number. A rational number. A rational number is a positive or negative whole number, decimal number, or fraction. So if I say something like 5, it's going to be rational. If I say something like 3.621, It's a decimal. The decimal needs to end or repeat. This ends, it stops. It stops going on. So when it stops, it ends, it terminates. If I give you something like 7.121212 dot dot dot, this 1 2 1 2 1 2 is repeating. So if it repeats, it is going to be a rational number. If I give you something like -6/3, it's a fraction. It is rational. We have numbers that are not rational, and we call them irrational numbers. And irrational numbers never end or repeat. They never end or they never repeat. So what I mean by this is infinity. Infinity is a number that never ends. It goes on forever. When I say infinity, it's a number that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Pi is a number that goes on forever because we know it as 3.14, but that number keeps on going, and we have not found an end to it yet. If I say something like -6.1211211112 dot dot dot, this is making a pattern, but it's not repeating. A pattern is not repeating. So whenever I have a pattern, it is irrational unless it's a repeating pattern, like 1 2 1 2 1 2. Real quick, tell me if these are rational or irrational. Write them on your paper before I do. So if I give you -3/4, if I give you 7.1516 dot dot dot, if I give you -8. Try it. Pause this video. -3/4 is going to be rational because -3/4 turns into -0.75. It is a terminating decimal. It ends. It does not continue going on forever. 7.1516 dot dot dot, that dot 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 means it's going to continue to go on. There's nothing repeating, so it's irrational. -8 stops. It is one number, it stops, it doesn't go on forever, it just ends. If it ends, it is rational. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Hopefully you're able to get these into your notes. If you need to, pause the video, write it down, go back to where I was. Watch this as many times as you need. If you want to watch it all the way through and then take notes, feel free to do so. These notes will be very important for your upcoming assignments and your quizzes and things that are to come. So make sure that you have them somewhere in your notebook. I would recommend keeping some sort of table of contents in the front, but it's not necessary. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and have a good rest of your day, guys.